Welcome to, or back to, Forgotten Hollywood, the channel where I take you back in time to show you the movies, shows, and actors that have faded over the years. When I was a kid, I remember a book being very popular with my peers. It was called Five Funny Frights by Judith B. Stamper. It wove together horror and comedy in a way that appealed to young kids and brought delight to my siblings and friends. This trend of balancing the frightening with large amounts of humor is not new. In fact, Hollywood has used it in movies almost as long as there's been a Hollywood. This Halloween season, let's take a look at my top 10 funny frights of film, Ghost Edition. Number 10, Beetlejuice. What else could we do than start off our list with an iconic dark comedy from 1988?
You two kids picked me. You didn't have to, but you picked me. It makes me want to kiss you.
This brilliantly cast film follows the recently deceased as they fight to preserve their beloved home from becoming a giant piece of modern art. Michael Keaton, as the title character, steals the show with his psychotic antics. This film is a classic example of Tim Burton's unique style, where live-action footage is enhanced by stop-motion, puppetry, and miniatures. This film was made at the peak of Tim Burton's golden age. His use of practical effects is a nice change from the CGI-heavy films of today. I don't think computer graphics were used at all, but they weren't needed. Special effects were part of film long before the invention of computer animation, and those effects have the ability to hold up over time, much better than CGI does. Number 9, High Spirits. Hollywood legend Peter O'Toole is at his best as a castle caretaker in this haunting comedy, also from 1988.
This is the most pitiful supernatural sham that I've ever encountered.
We'll get better, I do assure you.
The focus, however, is on a couple played by Steve Guttenberg and Daryl Hannah. Star-crossed lovers born in different centuries. He's on his second honeymoon to fix his unhappy marriage. She was murdered by her husband on their wedding night. Fate brought them together, but there is the little matter of him being married and her being dead. While this movie definitely has its good points, I feel that the plot itself had one too many subplots, especially since one of the said subplots had no connection to the main story arc, where all the others did. Because of the disconnect, the added drama becomes a sort of distraction from the primary story, and was, frankly, not needed at all. Another interesting note about this film is how it ends. I won't spoil it, but it was a unique solution for the common trope of man loves ghost. Number 8, Casper. Another iconic ghost brought to the big screen in 1995. Young Casper just wants a friend that won't run away screaming when they see through him. Enter Christina Ricci as Kat, the lonely daughter of a paranormal therapist who just wants to be somewhere long enough to make a friend. Complicating matters are Kat's father, who can't let go, and Casper's uncles, who won't let up. There's also an obsessive heiress, rumors of a buried treasure, and a wonder machine that can make all their dreams come true. The movie addresses themes like friendship and loss while still keeping a lighter, family-friendly tone. While it does have a few heavy moments, the film balances the stronger emotions with comedy, making it easier to process, and distracting young audience from the severity of the subject matter. This is a good trick for family films, as it creates layers of depth, allowing the viewer to get more out of the film with consecutive viewings over the years. Number 7, Blackbeard's Ghost. A 1968 film from Disney's collection of live-action classics. The ghost of a feared pirate, trapped in limbo by a curse, is unintentionally bound to a track and field coach.
Nothing like a little fresh air to straighten you out. For a while there, I almost believed there was a pirate. Oh, no. You're back, right?
Don't be about the measure of it, lad. I fear there's no way of being rid of dear old Blackbeard.
Well, that's great.
What follows is supernatural intervention, mass confusion, some gambling, and a whole lot of rum. A showcase of practical effects and visual gags, the film blends real history with fantasy and comes up with a hilarious situation. The characters may not be realistic, particularly in the case of the dreaded pirate, but this was a family movie made by Disney. At least the heroes are likable. That puts it a leg up over a lot of modern Hollywood. Number 6, Kiss Me Goodbye. A 1982 bittersweet rom-com. Kay is a young woman with a big decision to make. She loves 2 men. James Caan's Jolly is charming and talented. Jeff Bridges' Rupert is handsome, dependable, and not dead.
Jolly is dead. Okay, that's one thing in Rupert's favor. He's alive.
While preparing for her second wedding day, Kay is haunted by her late husband and finds herself torn between love lost and new beginnings. But is life with the dead worth living? Like with Casper, this film has a good balance of strong emotion and light humor. Unlike Casper, this is not a family movie. While the adult content is not strong enough to get anything higher than a PG rating, some kids may get bored with the romantic plot and love triangle. Number 5, Ghostbusters. In 1984, comedy giants Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Harold Ramis combined for the perfect storm of supernatural activity and laugh-out-loud humor. They show us what happens when 2 men with no practical skills outside of a background in paranormal research go into business for themselves.
What happened? Are you okay?
He slimed me.
That's great! Actual physical contact! Can you move?
Ray, come in, please.
I feel so funky. Spengler, I'm with Venkman. You got slimed.
That's great, Ray. Save some for me.
And I only say 2 because the character of Egon has many skills that are practical. Maybe not particularly useful unless you are a scientific research facility or the Pentagon, but practical nonetheless. The real power behind the humor in this movie is the combination of fantastic writing and a skillful cast. Each character is both subdued and over the top, relatable and unique. The film is the definition of lightning in a bottle and maintains its position as a classic decades later. Number 4, Topper. Released in 1937, this is the oldest film on our list, but with a timeless plot. Fun-loving couple George and Marion Kirby live a life in the fast lane, but when that life is cut short, they decide to help a friend, Cosmo Topper, to break out of his mundane routine. But can the dead teach someone to live?
No, Toppy, relax. Take it easy. There he goes again. Upsy-daisy, Toppy.
Say, George.
What?
We can't go down the lobby like this. We'll cause a riot. Faye.
Okay, don't teeter, Topper.
Though made long before the days of color TV, I think Topper holds its own with the comedies of today. Dry humor and wit, coupled with sight gags and practical effects, keep the film from feeling too dated. And who doesn't like to see a guy break out of his shell and learn to laugh again? Number 3, The Canterville Ghost. One of several adaptations of the Oscar Wilde short story, this 1985 version stars Jenny Beck, Mary Wicks, and Barry Van Dyke, with Broadway veteran Richard Kiley as the Shakespeare-quoting ghost. Cursed to haunt the English castle where he died 500 years before, Sir Simon has met his match in an American family. But do they hold the key to his freedom? Continuing our theme of banter and practical effects, this made-for-TV movie is a great example of comedy. The characters are believable and relatable. Casting is brilliant, especially when it comes to the housekeeper. You can't get much better than Mary Wicks, who had previously played the housekeeper in the holiday classic White Christmas, and went on to play the housekeeper in the television series The Father Dowling Mysteries. Number 2, The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. Another 60s comedy classic. Newspaper typesetter Luther Heggs dreams of getting a big scoop to impress his editor and become a real reporter. He finally gets his chance when he is selected to spend the night in a local haunted house and record his experiences.
It was terrible. It was just terrible.
Oh, no, he's gonna cry.
Now, steady now, Luther. Tell us about it.
It was terrible. It was just terrible. I'll never get over it as long as I live.
Hey, great opening line. I'll never get over it as long as I live. Okay, Luther, go on.
I got the house. Lightning, thunder, zoom, down the coal chute.
I arrived at the house. Giving careful consideration to the most advantageous means of entry, I selected the coal chute.
His story propels him and the house into the spotlight, causing trouble for the building's owner. Can Luther prove what he saw, or will the newspaper pay the price for his imagination? This film was a favorite of my family's when I was growing up. Don Knotts is the perfect choice for the cowardly Luther, and the script couldn't be better. The movie has everything: drama, romance, suspense, danger, and, of course, a healthy dose of laughs. Number 1, The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. Finally, we come to a gem from 1947. When a young widow moves to the seaside with her daughter and housekeeper, she is seeking a quiet, peaceful life. When she moves into a house haunted by a grouchy sea captain, she finds anything but. Soon, however, the pair form an unlikely alliance, and she agrees to tell his story. The movie has an interesting take on the trope man loves ghosts for a few reasons. First, that it came out before it was a trope. And secondly, in the way that it was handled. The attraction between Gene Tierney's Lucy and Rex Harrison's Daniel is obvious, but both are practical enough to know that a romance between them is impossible. Still, that doesn't stop him from being critical of a potential suitor or...
Feminine literature. What does he mean, feminine literature?
He had no way of knowing it's your book.
Brass, he says. I'll polish his brass for him. And the way he was smirking at you like a cat at the fishmonger's. Should have slapped his face.
Why? I found him rather charming.
Rather charming. Now you're starting to talk like him.
How in blazes do you want me to talk?
That's better.
Their story of love and loss is not like the others I've covered, and definitely worth seeing. There you have it. 10 films spanning 58 years that blend horror and comedy to make gold. They are all different in style and tone, but each gives their take on the relationships between the living and the dead. Thanks for watching. Were these movies you were familiar with, or mostly ones you had never heard of? Do you know of any I missed? Let me know in the comments, especially if you plan to watch any this October. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this sort of content. Also, click that bell to receive notifications. Let me know if there is another top 10 list you would like me to feature, and I will catch up with you next time.